Some cases haunt us for decades, lingering in the collective memory of a nation. They become more than just stories. They become symbols of unanswered questions, of innocence lost, and of the deep need for justice that never fades. The murder of JonBenet Ramsey is one such case. A tragedy that continues to cast a long shadow over American true crime history. On a cold December morning in 1996, the quiet town of Boulder, Colorado, was shattered by the shocking news of a child's murder. The Ramsey family's home, once a place of holiday celebration, was transformed into the epicenter of a national media storm. Headlines screamed, and the world watched as investigators tried to piece together what had happened inside those walls. The image of a bright, smiling 6-year-old beauty queen, lost to a brutal crime in her own home, became an American obsession. JonBenet's life, filled with pageants, laughter and promise, was cut short in a way that seemed both senseless and unfathomable. Her story touched millions, and her face became a haunting reminder of vulnerability and tragedy. The bizarre details, a cryptic ransom note left behind, a frantic search through the Ramsey home, and the shocking discovery of JonBenet's body in the basement captivated the nation and fueled endless speculation. The case was marked by missteps, conflicting theories, and a media frenzy that often blurred the line between fact and rumor. Despite intense media scrutiny and countless hours of investigation, the case became a symbol of justice denied and a system's failure to protect the innocent. Theories abounded. Some pointed to the family, others to an unknown intruder, but no one was ever charged. The legal battles, public accusations, and relentless coverage only deepened the mystery. For nearly 30 years, the question has remained: who killed JonBenet Ramsey? Each anniversary brings renewed calls for answers, and the pain of her loss is still felt by those who remember her. The community, her family, and the world have never stopped searching for the truth. Now, with advances in forensic science and new technology, there's renewed hope that this enduring mystery might finally be solved. Investigators are re-examining old evidence, using tools that didn't exist decades ago, and following leads that were once impossible to trace. The promise of modern DNA analysis offers a glimmer of hope that justice may finally be within reach. The time has come to seek the truth and give JonBenet the justice she deserves. As the world watches and waits, we are reminded that some mysteries endure not just because of what we don't know, but because of what we hope to one day discover. The day after Christmas 1996 should have been filled with joy and laughter for the Ramsey family. Their elegant home in Boulder, Colorado, was still adorned with twinkling lights and festive decorations, a picture-perfect scene of holiday cheer. But beneath the surface, a chilling tragedy was about to unfold, one that would shock the nation and haunt the family forever. That morning, as Patsy Ramsey descended the grand staircase, she discovered a handwritten ransom note left on the steps. The note was long, bizarre, and demanded $118,000 for the safe return of her 6-year-old daughter, JonBenet. The amount was oddly specific, matching a recent bonus John Ramsey had received at work. The words on the page were chilling, filled with threats and strange instructions, warning the family not to contact the police or anyone else. Overcome with terror and confusion, Patsy's instincts as a mother took over. Despite the note's warnings, she immediately called 911, her voice trembling as she pleaded for help. Within minutes, the quiet home was filled with the sounds of sirens and the hurried footsteps of first responders. The Ramseys' worst nightmare was just beginning, and panic quickly spread through the house. Friends, neighbors, and family members soon arrived, hoping to offer comfort and support. But as they moved freely through the house, they unknowingly disturbed potential evidence, making the investigation even more difficult. The once peaceful home became a chaotic scene, filled with confusion, fear, and unanswered questions. The police initially treated the case as a kidnapping, focusing on the ransom note, and searching for any sign of JonBenet. Hours passed with no word from the supposed kidnappers. Then, in a devastating turn, John Ramsey and a family friend searched the house themselves. In the basement, John made a horrifying discovery: JonBenet's lifeless body, hidden in a little-used room. She was wrapped in a white blanket, her mouth covered with duct tape, and a garrote made from a cord and a paintbrush handle was tied tightly around her neck. The scene was grim, and the reality set in that this was no kidnapping gone wrong. JonBenet had been murdered in her own home. The supposed kidnapping was a cruel diversion, a calculated attempt to mislead investigators. The truth was far more sinister. JonBenet had been killed just steps away from her family in the place where she should have been safest. The autopsy would later reveal the full extent of her injuries. JonBenet died from asphyxiation caused by strangulation, and she also suffered a severe skull fracture. The brutality of the crime stunned even seasoned investigators, and the details would become the subject of endless speculation and debate. As detectives combed through the evidence, it became clear that this was a violent, premeditated act. The case was immediately complicated by the mishandling of the crime scene and the bizarre circumstances surrounding the ransom note. The investigation would soon spiral into one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in American history. For the Ramseys, and for the world watching, the nightmare had only just begun. The questions, suspicions, and heartbreak would linger for years to come, casting a long shadow over the quiet streets of Boulder, Colorado. From the start, the investigation was plagued by mistakes and suspicion. The crime scene was compromised, and the focus quickly shifted to JonBenet's parents. Police believed the crime was staged, while the Ramseys insisted an intruder was responsible. This led to two parallel investigations, often working against each other. In 2006, John Mark Carr falsely confessed, but DNA evidence ruled him out. In 2008, new DNA testing identified an unknown male profile, exonerating the Ramsey family. The real killer's DNA was at the scene, but his identity remained a mystery. The case was left in limbo, with justice still out of reach. The JonBenet case was frozen by early investigative errors and internal conflict. The crime scene was never properly secured, and crucial evidence was lost. A feud between police and the district attorney's office led to competing theories and wasted resources. The media frenzy turned the case into a national spectacle, overwhelming investigators with thousands of tips. DNA evidence pointed to an unknown intruder, but no match was found. The grand jury voted to indict the parents, but the DA declined, citing lack of evidence. The investigation stalled, and the killer remained unidentified. Decades later, the case is a cautionary tale of what happens when procedure and cooperation break down. But hope remains, thanks to advances in forensic science. Through loss and suspicion, John Ramsey has never stopped seeking justice for his daughter. He endured years as a suspect, but his belief in an intruder never wavered. John became a relentless advocate, pushing for new eyes and advanced DNA testing. Recently, cooperation with Boulder police has improved, offering new hope. John is now urging the use of forensic genetic genealogy, convinced it could finally identify JonBenet's killer. He's even offered to fund private lab testing himself. His fight is a testament to a father's love and determination. With renewed collaboration and technology, justice may finally be within reach. Forensic genetic genealogy, often called IgG, is a groundbreaking approach that is transforming the way investigators solve cold cases and long-standing mysteries. By merging the power of modern genetics with the meticulous work of genealogy, this technique is opening new doors in criminal investigations that were once thought to be unsolvable. IgG works by combining advanced DNA analysis with detailed family tree research. Investigators use public genealogy databases, where people voluntarily upload their DNA to find relatives, to search for genetic connections to unknown suspects. This process allows them to identify distant relatives, sometimes as far as third or fourth cousins, of the person who left DNA at a crime scene. Investigators start by uploading the crime scene DNA profile to these databases, searching for partial matches. Even a small genetic overlap like that of a distant cousin can provide a crucial lead. From there, the search becomes a puzzle, one that requires both scientific expertise and creative thinking. Genealogists then step in to build out extensive family trees, tracing connections through generations. They use birth records, marriage certificates, obituaries, and other public documents to map out relationships and narrow down the list of potential suspects. This process can take weeks or even months, but it often leads to a small group of individuals who could be the source of the crime scene DNA. Once a likely individual is identified, law enforcement can collect a new DNA sample, often through a discarded item or a direct swab, to confirm the match. This final step provides the evidence needed to make an arrest or clear someone's name. This method has already cracked some of the most notorious cases in recent history, including the capture of the Golden State Killer, a case that had baffled detectives for decades. IGG has brought closure to families and justice to victims, proving its value time and again. IGG is a remarkable fusion of cutting-edge science and classic detective work. It requires collaboration between forensic experts, genealogists, and law enforcement, each bringing their unique skills to the table. In the case of JonBenet Ramsey, this technology could finally reveal the identity behind the unknown DNA found at the scene. For her family, and for so many others, IGG represents hope for answers that have remained elusive for years. The technology and expertise are available today. The real question is whether investigators will choose to use these powerful tools to their fullest potential, especially in high-profile and sensitive cases. If they do, the impact could be life-changing, not just for the families waiting for justice, but for the future of criminal investigations everywhere. Key evidence in JonBenet's case has waited nearly 30 years for modern testing. The garrote used in the murder, JonBenet's clothing, duct tape, and blanket may still hold the killer's DNA. Advances in touch DNA analysis can extract profiles from just a few skin cells. Forensic genetic genealogy requires more detailed DNA profiles than previous methods. It's time to re-examine every piece of evidence with today's technology. These silent clues could finally speak, revealing the identity of JonBenet's killer. The push for new testing is critical. Science may now succeed where old methods failed. Justice demands we let the evidence tell its story. Change is finally coming to the Boulder Police Department. Police Chief Stephen Redfern has publicly committed to using the latest DNA technology in JonBenet's case. For the first time, police and John Ramsey are working together, combining resources and determination. This partnership signals a new era of cooperation and hope. The police are also appealing to the public. Someone out there may hold the missing piece. If you have any information, no matter how small, now is the time to come forward. Contact Boulder Police at Boulder's Most Wanted Boulder, Colorado, Gov, or call their tip line. Your information could be the link that finally brings justice. Don't wait. Help end this decades-long nightmare. Together, we can solve the mystery and honor JonBenet's memory. We stand at a turning point in the JonBenet Ramsey case. Renewed police commitment, a father's advocacy, and forensic genetic genealogy have created a real path to justice. The tools and evidence are here. The only question is when justice will be served. Solving this case will bring peace to the Ramsey family and hope to countless others. It will prove that science and persistence can overcome even the coldest of cases. JonBenet was a little girl with dreams and a future stolen from her. The least we can do is give her justice. The final chapter is within reach. Let's make sure it ends with the truth. Justice for JonBenet.